The night was dark, December 18, 1977. A chill hung in the air at San Francisco International Airport. On the tarmac, a Douglas DC-8 cargo plane prepared for takeoff. Its destination, Salt Lake City. This was United Airlines Flight 2860. The crew, experienced and ready, went through their pre-flight checks. Little did they know, their flight would become anything but routine. Flight 2860 lifted off into the night sky. The lights of San Francisco twinkled below. As the plane climbed, the crew settled into their tasks, monitoring instruments, communicating with air traffic control. But as Flight 2860 approached Salt Lake City, the weather took a turn. Dark clouds gathered, turbulence shook the plane. Then, the unthinkable happened. Flight 2860 was no ordinary passenger plane. It was a Douglas DC-8F, a cargo plane built for long hauls. Its cavernous hold was packed tight with mail and packages this night. The DC-8F was a workhorse of the skies, reliable and powerful. It had a reputation for safety, but even the most reliable machines are not immune to failure. The crew trusted in the plane's capabilities, but their skills would be tested that night. At the helm of Flight 2860 was Captain Arthur Spong. With decades of experience, he had countless hours in the air. He knew the DC-8F like the back of his hand. Captain Spong was known for his calm demeanor and quick decisions under pressure. He was a leader, a mentor to younger pilots. His crew trusted him implicitly. They knew that if anyone could get them out of a tight spot, it was Captain Spong. But this night, even his experience would be put to the ultimate test. First Officer Philip Modicet and Second Officer Stephen Simpson completed the crew of Flight 2860. Modicet, a skilled pilot, had a knack for navigation. Simpson, the youngest, was eager to learn and always willing to lend a hand. Together they formed a cohesive unit. They worked seamlessly, each man knowing his role. They were more than just colleagues, they were friends. But on this flight, their friendship would be tested like never before. The first sign of trouble was subtle, a flickering instrument light on the DC-8's control panel. Captain Spong made a note of it. He knew that even minor electrical glitches could be a sign of something more serious. The situation deteriorated rapidly. More lights began to flicker and die. Instruments spun wildly or went blank. This was a cascade of failures threatening to cripple the aircraft mid-flight. As the electrical system continued to fail, the cockpit of the DC-8 was plunged into darkness. The soft glow of instrument panels vanished, leaving only dim emergency lights. The darkness was disorienting, adding stress to an already critical situation. Captain Spong ordered Second Officer Simpson to check the circuit breakers. Modicet struggled to maintain communication with Salt Lake City. The plane, once a beacon of light, was now a darkened vessel, lost in the vast expanse above the Utah mountains. With each passing moment, the situation grew more dire. The electrical failures were not limited to lights and instruments. The pilot's controls became sluggish and unpredictable. Captain Spong fought to keep the plane level, compensating for the failing systems. Modicet tried to get a fix on their position, realizing the gravity of their situation. They were flying blind, their fate hanging on their ability to regain control. Amidst the terrifying cascade of failures, a glimmer of hope emerged. Salt Lake City Air Traffic Control, picking up fragments of their distress calls, responded with urgency. They confirmed Flight 2860's approximate location on their radar, offered vectors, a lifeline of guidance through the darkness. Captain Spong acknowledged their instructions, his words measured, controlled. He knew that panic would be their enemy. They had a chance to bring their crippled plane down. Following Salt Lake City's instructions, Captain Spong initiated a descent. The DC-8, its engines struggling, began a slow, agonizing descent through the blackness. Judging their altitude and rate of descent became a guessing game. Outside the cockpit windows, the darkness was absolute. Inside, the tension was palpable. They were descending into the unknown, hoping they were headed towards a runway, not a mountainside. The air thick with the smell of ozone from the failing electrical system and the sweat of men facing their own mortality. Suddenly, a chilling warning pierced the tense silence of the cockpit. The ground proximity warning system blared its insistent alarm. "Terrain! Terrain! Pull up! Pull up!" the synthetic voice screamed at them. Adrenaline surged through Captain Spong's veins. He reacted instinctively, pulling back on the control yoke, willing the DC-8 to climb. It was a desperate, heart-stopping battle against time and a rapidly approaching mountainside. Captain Spong's desperate struggle to lift the DC-8 was in vain. The mountainside loomed large in their windshield, a dark wall racing towards them. In the cockpit, time seemed to slow to a crawl. The ground proximity warning system's insistent shriek filled their ears. Then, with a deafening roar and a bone-jarring impact, Flight 2860 slammed into the terrain. The once proud aircraft, reduced to a mangled wreckage, was consumed by a fiery inferno that lit up the night sky. In the aftermath of the crash, an eerie silence descended upon the mountain. The roar of the engines, the shriek of the warning system, the desperate shouts of the crew, all were silenced. The storm began to subside, revealing a scene of utter devastation. The snow-covered slopes were now marred by a long scar of debris. Trees, their branches snapped, lay scattered amidst the wreckage. The mountain had claimed Flight 2860, its secrets buried beneath a shroud of twisted metal and shattered dreams. As dawn broke over the Wasatch Mountains, a lone light flickered in the distance. A search and rescue helicopter, alerted by the now silent emergency beacon of Flight 2860, approached the scene. The crew, their faces grim, surveyed the wreckage. There were no survivors. Captain Arthur Spong, First Officer Philip Modesit, and Second Officer Stephen Simpson had perished in the crash. The cargo they carried lay scattered and destroyed, a poignant reminder of the fragility of life and the capricious nature of fate. News of the crash of Flight 2860 sent shockwaves through the aviation world. The loss of 3 experienced crew members, the violent impact on a remote mountainside, it was a stark reminder of the risks inherent in air travel. The National Transportation Safety Board dispatched a team of experts to the crash site, their mission to determine the cause of the disaster and prevent similar tragedies from occurring in the future. The crash site, nestled high in the Wasatch Mountains, presented a formidable challenge. The wreckage was scattered over a wide area, the terrain treacherous, the weather unpredictable. Yet, the investigators worked tirelessly, meticulously documenting every piece of debris, every clue that might shed light on the final moments of Flight 2860. As the NTSB investigators pieced together the wreckage, a chilling narrative began to emerge. The evidence pointed to a catastrophic failure of the aircraft's electrical system. A short circuit in the plane's power distribution system had created a domino effect, crippling vital systems one by one. The cockpit voice recorder provided a harrowing audio record of the crew's final moments. Their voices, initially calm and professional, grew increasingly strained as the situation deteriorated. The investigators listened intently, their faces etched with a mixture of sadness and admiration for the crew's bravery and professionalism in the face of disaster. The NTSB investigation culminated in a detailed report that highlighted the chain of events that led to the crash of Flight 2860. The report identified the faulty electrical component as the primary cause of the accident, but it also pointed to contributing factors, including the lack of redundancy in the aircraft's electrical system. The report's recommendations led to significant safety improvements in the design and operation of aircraft. New regulations mandated the installation of redundant electrical systems. Training programs for pilots and crew were enhanced, emphasizing procedures for dealing with multiple system failures. The legacy of Flight 2860, though born of tragedy, was a safer, more resilient aviation industry. While the technical investigation provided answers about the cause of the crash, it could not fully capture the human cost of the tragedy. Captain Arthur Spong, First Officer Philip Modicit, and Second Officer Stephen Simpson were more than just names in a report. They were husbands, fathers, friends, their lives cut short in the service of their profession. In the years since the crash, their memory has been honored by their families, their colleagues, and the aviation community at large. Their story serves as a reminder of the importance of safety, the need for constant vigilance, and the enduring human spirit that strives to learn from even the most tragic of events. The crash of United Airlines Flight 2860 sent shockwaves through the aviation industry. It was a stark reminder that even with experienced crews and seemingly reliable aircraft, disaster could strike. The investigation exposed vulnerabilities in aircraft design and emergency procedures. The industry was forced to confront uncomfortable truths. The loss of Flight 2860 became a catalyst for change, a turning point in aviation safety. The NTSB's recommendations carried the weight of tragedy, the urgency of preventing future disasters. One of the most crucial lessons learned from the Flight 2860 crash was the critical importance of redundancy in aircraft systems. The DC-8, while considered a reliable aircraft at the time, lacked sufficient backup systems to compensate for the catastrophic failure of its electrical network. The NTSB investigation made it painfully clear that a single point of failure could have devastating consequences. The industry responded by embracing the concept of redundancy as a fundamental design principle. Modern aircraft now feature multiple independent electrical systems, each capable of powering essential flight controls and instruments. Backup generators, often with their own dedicated fuel supplies, provide an additional layer of safety, ensuring that even in the event of a major electrical failure, pilots have the power they need to maintain control and navigate safely. Honoring their sacrifice, a legacy of vigilance. The legacy of Flight 2860 extends beyond technical improvements. It serves as a reminder of the importance of vigilance, training, and safety. The crew's bravery became a poignant example for future generations. Their story is now woven into the fabric of aviation training. Section 4. A lasting tribute. Remembering the human cost. The Flight 2860 crash must never overshadow the human cost. Captain Spong, First Officer Modicit, and Second Officer Simpson were more than just names. They were skilled aviators, dedicated professionals, and beloved family members. Their loss left a void that could never be filled. Their families have channeled their grief into advocacy for aviation safety. Their efforts serve as a reminder of the enduring hope for a safer future. The story of United Airlines Flight 2860 is a stark reminder of the unforgiving nature of aviation. Even amidst the marvels of modern flight, tragedy can strike, turning a routine cargo run into a desperate fight for survival. The events of that December night in 1977 serve as a testament to the courage of the crew. Their final moments showed their dedication to training and procedure. Their story became a catalyst for change, forcing the aviation industry to strive for a safer future. The crash exposed the fragility of complex systems and the importance of human factors in aviation. The investigation highlighted technical failings and systemic issues, prompting a renewed commitment to safety. Out of the ashes of Flight 2860 rose a legacy of safety advancements that have saved countless lives. The NTSB's investigation yielded crucial recommendations that reshaped aircraft design, building, and operation. The industry, driven by tragic loss, embraced changes. Redundancy became a cornerstone of aircraft design. Multiple independent systems and fail-safe mechanisms provided layers of protection against failures. Training emphasized crew resource management and decision-making. Simulators became indispensable for honing skills. Though the technical advancements and regulatory changes are crucial aspects of its legacy, the human cost must never be forgotten. Captain Arthur Spong, First Officer Philip Modicit, and Second Officer Stephen Simpson were more than just names. They were skilled aviators and beloved family men. Their families, forever marked by the loss, have shown remarkable strength, channeling their grief into advocacy for aviation safety. Their memory lives on, in the ongoing efforts to make aviation safer for everyone. Behind every statistic, there are human lives at stake. The best way to honor their sacrifice is to ensure such a tragedy never happens again. The crash of United Airlines Flight 2860 stands as a stark reminder that the pursuit of aviation safety is an ongoing journey. While advancements have reduced risks, the potential for accidents remains. The skies are more crowded than ever, and aircraft are increasingly complex. Challenges of weather, human error, and unforeseen circumstances persist. It's a legacy built on continuous improvement and embracing new technologies. As long as humans take to the skies, the memory of Flight 2860 will guide the way.